May I have your attention, please?
We just want to have fun. You know, we don't want to make this taxing. It's already tax season. People need a fun distraction during tax season. So we're doing the ABC March Appness, for short, the Accountant Bracket Challenge. Our nomination period is open now for you. Text ABC to 33339, or you just go to bracket.accountinghigh.com. That's it. Super easy. I mean, that text thing was harder to say than just bracket.accountinghigh.com.
Just go to the website.
Do the text if you want to, just to see if it works. You text ABC to 33339. That's 4 3s and a 9. Text ABC. Or go to bracket.accountinghigh.com for more details. We got an FAQ on there. We got your nomination. You go in and enroll, and stay tuned.
I repeat, may I have your attention, please?
This is another public service announcement brought to you in part
by Accounting High.
The views and events expressed here are
of the next generation of accounting and tech professionals leading this space.
The events and suggestions are not to be taken lightly. Children should not partake in the listening
of this podcast.
Anything else?
Yeah.
So without further ado, introducing the star of our show,
Scotty and Byron.
We're going to have a problem here.
What up?
What up, what up? Accounting High Times, AH Times.
Yep.
Volume 1.
Numero uno.
So, I'll just announce like what we're doing here. Every week, every Friday, we're going to have a short and sweet episode. A half-hour episode for Accounting High is almost unheard of. But we're going to try.
We're going to keep Scotty on track.
We're going to try to. We're going to do news and updates. We're going to do a weekly roundup of everything we've released. We're going to talk about any announcements or anything that we're going to be doing outside of just the podcast. And yeah, we're going to just tie it all together and just keep that consistent. So you've got a constant feed of what's happening in the world of accounting at Accounting High.
Yeah, that's right.
So, Byron, you want to introduce yourself for anybody that hadn't heard your episode?
Yeah, man. Byron Patrick, resident, just CPA industry and profession rat. I've been around, sadly, a couple decades now, doing all kinds of things in the accounting technology space, everything from I've been in firms, I've been a technology provider, I've been in the SaaS space, heavily involved with many associations, once a chair of the Maryland Association of CPAs, as well as involved with the AICPA and other state societies, Virginia Society as well. So yeah, just kind of this guy who's been hanging out for a number of years in this space, a recent faculty member of the Accounting High.
Very important faculty member at this stage here. The way I see it is you're like a bridge app. You're like bridging generations because you're smack in the middle right now.
Does.
That is what Gen X does. X
right.
is the bridge, right? Yep. So that's how everybody that I see is like grew up Gen X is sort of just in the middle of the boomers and the millennials because we're bigger generations, right?
It's what we do.
Yeah,
but we're that tasty, creamy center of the Oreo.
All right. You're holding it all together. You're the connectors. Right. I don't know about the creamy center, but we can keep going there. I don't mind. I don't mind that one. That's not too bad. So because you do have a lot of connections on both sides, like all the young people know you, or at least in my sphere, my general, and maybe that's like the ground zero of that is like salon, accounting salon. I think that's how I met you. Yep. And yeah, like your involvement with all the state societies and on those boards and on everything, like that's also, you can speak both languages almost. Yeah. And it's the tech too. You're real, like, when did you get involved with tech, or just when did you get excited about this stuff?
You know, it's I won't do the long story. I think we even talked about it on my episode.
Oh, we did.
Anybody
Yeah.
wants to go back, but I mean, you know, Y2K, man. Like,
Okay.
I graduated college in '99 and then lived Y2K, and that got me sucked into tech. The first firm that I worked for had a progressive firm owner who invested in technology. We bought our first laptops after I had joined, and you know, I was the guy like plugging that shit together, and so it literally out of the gates of my career. I was full on accounting technology.
Dope. So
Yeah.
I'm surrounded with it, immerse yourself in it, and now you're going even further and you've built an app. We're going to announce it right now. And I've kind of talked about it. I've definitely told all my friends. And me and Nicole talked about it on our last Varsity Tips. We're doing the ABC March Appness. For short, the Accountant Bracket Challenge.
Yes, sir.
ABC. What is this Accountant Bracket Challenge, Byron?
So we are putting together the ultimate competition, a 64 team bracket challenge of all things accounting channels, if you will, accounting education platforms, accounting resources, accounting apps, basically anything that you are using in your day-to-day world of accounting can be nominated, and we're putting those nominations into a 64-team bracket. We will do voting to decide the head-to-heads, and ultimately, we will crown the Accounting Bracket Challenge winner, voted on by the accountants of this profession.
By the accountants, for the accountants. Anything that makes your accounting life better. If you love the Cloud Accounting Podcast, vote them in. If you're a member of Ryan Lozandis' Future Firm, nominate him. Nominate Future Firm. If you go to Accounting Today to get your news, nominate Accounting Today. Which apps do you use at your firm? Do you use Slack? Nominate Slack if you love Slack. Nominate Notion. Any app that makes your life better as an accountant. Obviously, I would hope that things like Carbon and Ignition and Xero and QuickBooks all get nominated, but we have no control over who gets nominated. You guys are doing that. We get to do our nominations. I don't know if that's a conflict of interest since we're running the tournament. I don't think that I should be participating in it because I can't win my own tournament. It's not a good look. I used to run these bracket challenges. I swear, I ran these bracket challenges myself for the actual NCAA tournament in high school, and I won the second year. Everybody called foul play.
Suspect.
Everybody got pissed off. It was so suspect, but you know, I'm pretty sure Carolina won that year, and that's why. But also, like, I'm in North Carolina, so I don't know. I don't even know how. Like, it just was a bad look. And then the next year, some people didn't want to play because I won. So this is going to be super legit, though. I'm not even going to get any raffle tickets. I don't want to even have the opportunity to win. Nope. But what are they going to win? What's the so for all the accountants out there, for all the participants, they're enrolling to be a student at Accounting High because only students can play, right?
Yep, gotta be a student.
So you get our link. We have that in the show notes. We're going to be pushing it hard come February, but right now it's just for our loyal listeners who've opened up this episode and checked it out. Check out that link and go in. And why would they even want to go in? Now they got to enroll. Oh man, now I hit this button. Now I got to enroll. I got to put my email. I got to confirm my phone number, all that shit. Why are they going to want to even do this?
Well, I mean, first of all, just pure fun. It's going to be blast. Like, how many of you have filled out, you know, the March Madness brackets and you don't know a damn thing about basketball, but it's just fun to play with your friends. But there are going to be prizes. And there's a lot of decisions to be made based on the popularity. So we're going to be pushing everybody to tell your friends, because the more students we get enrolled, the better the trips are going to get?
So we're giving away trips. These are accounting high field trips that we're giving away, or that we're going to be scheduling out. Our principal, Ron Baker, has suggested that our prize be, and it was the best prize I could ever even think of myself, but it's a course at Disney University. So that's a given. That's something that we're going to give away. We're giving away a course at Disney University, probably a trip to Disney World too. So if you win, you say, I'm going to Disney World, right? That's not if you win the tournament, though. That's if your raffle ticket gets picked. So we'll explain the raffle and how that works. Raffle, and you're going to win that trip. That's if we get up to 1,000 participants, student roles and body, all that. Like, that's the first prize. If we get up to 5,000 participants in this contest, throughout the contest, it's going to unlock a trip to Hawaii. That sounded pretty good to me. I mean, we're making these trips up as we go. We're definitely going to give them away once we get to that stage. This is the first year we're doing it. We're going to be doing it year after year. So just get ready, buckle up. This is the first round, first ever. We're going to call this the ABC beta, ABC beta March Appness for the first year 0, right?
And y'all have to be nice. I mean, this is the first app I've ever built. I've built lots of automations over the years and, all kinds of stuff, but I've actually built an app for this.
Hey, no, you did. And it works. It actually works. Somebody else said, so you guys built this app. Does it even work? Yeah. I mean, it's pretty basic. What we're doing is we're running a tournament off of an app rather than having people mail their stuff in or email and try to track all these things. This app is going to track everything. It's going to track the voting. You guys are going to be able to see, listeners and students are going to be able to see live who's been nominated. So we're releasing this into the wild now, and we're kind of announcing it. And just if we get to 10,000, that's where we give away a trip to Italy.
That's silly.
So I had talked about this on Nicole's episode. I pitched this to Expensify. I want them to squirrel away a golden ticket to Italy. They haven't confirmed or denied that they would do that. They have a lot going on. I know this. They have a lot going on with their Italy Expensicon, and I don't think they're going to be able to do that much with us this year. But hey, if we can give away a trip to Italy and we get 10,000 people, that's a whole nother conversation. But maybe next year too. Maybe we can do something big next year. This year, I think realistically, we could probably get to that 5,000 number, and Hawaii just sounds good. It's not international, so it's easier. Most of our contestants are probably going to be in the U.S. anyway, but wherever, if you're listening to this in South Africa, you might be able to win a trip to Hawaii. That'll be pretty dope. So the draw and the prizes and the raffle tickets. So how do they get raffle tickets, Byron? What are these raffle tickets you speak of?
Right. Yeah. So basically you earn raffle tickets by participating. So initially when you nominate one of these resources, you'll get 5 raffle tickets per nomination, and you get to nominate up to 5 teams. So, or 5 items, things.
5 accounting channels.
5 accounting channels. And then you can give a testimonial so tell us why you are nominating. Totally optional, but you earn an additional 5 raffle tickets for each testimonial that you give. We are going to have raffle tickets that you earn as you vote in each round. And the deeper you go into round voting, the more raffle tickets you will earn. And there's various Easter eggs that will be available if you confirm your cell phone number so we can remind you to vote. There'll be other opportunities to win raffle tickets. The more raffle tickets you have, the better your odds of winning some good stuff.
The raffle tickets, they'll be getting all throughout, and we're going to also be giving away prizes throughout. So as we get more and more participants and players in this match, so the nomination phase is where we pool together who are these 64 teams that are going to be competing against each other. Who are these 64 accounting channels? What we plan on doing is taking all the nominations and grouping them together based on category. So what we're going to do is have all the podcasts that are nominated in their own region, all of the communities nominated in their own region, all of the front-facing, client-facing apps that you use, or apps general public would use, all together. All of the apps that you use at your firm. So maybe it's, maybe we group together all of the payroll apps, all the bill pay apps, all of the GLs. We'll be grouping those together as the nominations come in, and we're going to have a selection Sunday. So for the next month, you're just going to have the opportunity to earn up to 25 raffle tickets just out the gate before the tournament even really starts. Everybody goes in that has nominated to their 5. You get 5 for each nomination, 5 for each testimonial. We're going to collect those over the next month and a half. By March 10th, we're going to have our selection Sunday. This is going to be modeled just off of the regular tournament. We're going to have a panel of moderators who I have a short list in my head who I want those moderators to be, but it's sort of going to be like the Kenny Smith, the Charles Barkley, the Clark Kellogg, the Greg Gumbel of the crew, the ones you always see on CBS during the regular March Madness tournament. And we're going to be talking about all this. We're going to talk about who's been nominated, and we're going to reveal the bracket. Once the bracket's out, we've got weeks of voting. That's where you go in and you see the matchups and you vote on who you would like to see win on each matchup. So during the first week, you're only voting on the first 2 rounds. So you're basically picking your bracket slowly. And then we reveal the winners. So as voting closes, we have another updates show. We have another commentary during these first few rounds. We're going to talk about the matchups. We're going to talk about how many votes they got, who won. You'll be able to see the voting. The voting should be live. There'll be a page that you can go on to see who's been voted. If your favorite app's going far or your favorite podcast is going far, everybody's going to be talking about it. I hope this gets big because everybody's going to be nominated in this space and everybody's going to want to win. Who doesn't want to win a friendly contest among peers and colleagues and competitors? They're competitors in a lot of ways. So it's going to be super fun. As we get further in these rounds, like Byron said, you get more raffle tickets. The points are worth more. Each voting round is worth more, so you get more opportunities to win. As certain apps get knocked out, they may be giving away prizes, maybe subscriptions. So even as a consolation, like there should be some publicity and some stuff around the app that lost because they're giving away a prize. And that person who got that prize, gets a free month of something. We'll figure out what those little door prizes are, but we've seen a lot of those. People have done that before. We've been talking about it. We got some ideas. So lots of fun incentives and fun ways to win. That's why we have a ton of raffle tickets, because we're giving away a lot of stuff. Lots of giveaways. This is the prize house. This is the sweepstakes prize house of the accounting world.
PCH.
Yeah, the PCH. So we're not giving away any of those major checks, those big checks. We're not going to knock on your door and hand you one of those huge checks. That's just phony. Like, that's not even a real check. We're going to give you cold hard cash if you win. If we do have cash prizes, I'll hand deliver some cash. So that's the real. Those are some of the real prizes. That's the real incentive.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. So this isn't your typical. You fill out your bracket and see if you picked it right. This is just rounds of voting because you are determining the winner. You're in charge. You're in control. I expect there to be some upsets.
I anticipate there'll be a handful of upsets. I think there'll be some surprises, some dark horses that just
dark horse could get nominated too, though. They could go pretty far.
They could be there. No doubt.
So the dark horse could be the dark horse. They got a lot of CPAs on their team, and they get themselves out there. I have no idea who the Final Four is going to be. I can't even imagine who these finals are going to be, but they're going to be somebody that we didn't expect. There's at least going to be one or two that just got a lot of votes, or somebody figured out a way to hack it. We're going to have to monitor that too. Yeah, no bots. We have strict no bot policy.
Well, and that's why you have to be enrolled as a student. So we need valid email addresses. Like, otherwise, I know a couple bot manufacturers that I can imagine would be stuffing the ballot box.
We'll know anyway. We'll see of like a spike in registration, and we might have to call foul play, but we're going to monitor this. We know a thing or two about tech. I mean, we've seen, we've been in the world here. We're running this realistically. This is going to be a fair show. But we also this is our big come out party for Accounting High. We just did the rebrand, and we're taking all this seriously. We got a lot of coming soons here. We don't have a newsletter yet. We don't have an email newsletter. We don't have a blog yet. We don't have a YouTube channel yet. We're just a lowly old school. We're just starting out. This is, we put our flag up. This is the public school of accounting at Accounting High, and we're kind of open for business. This is our freshman year.
That's it.
Right?
It's awkward. Don't know where anything is. Still trying to figure out the
Pimply.
school.
Don't have our driver's license yet either.
Oh, no.
We're still trying to figure stuff out.
Ride in the bus.
Yeah. But we just want to have fun. We don't want to make this taxing. It's already tax season. People need a fun distraction during tax season. So that was our announcement for the March Appness. Our nomination period is basically open now for you. You can text 33339. That's 4 3s and a 9. Text ABC to 33339. Yep. Or you just go to bracket. Is it brackets or bracket?
Just bracket.
Bracket.accountinghigh.com. That's it. Super easy. I mean, that text thing was harder to say than just bracket.accountinghigh.com.
Just go to the website.
Just go to the website, because everybody that gets a text, it costs 8 cents. So do the text if you want to, just to see if it works. You text ABC to 33339. That's 4 3s and a 9. Text ABC. Or go to bracket.accountinghigh.com for more details. We got an FAQ on there. We got your nomination. You go in and enroll, and stay tuned. It's going to be super dope. It's going to be super fun. We've been working on this a while. We've been working really hard on the app. And yeah, we got David Leary's blessing on this. He thinks he's going to win. He thinks he's going to be the grand champ. He thinks Cloud Accounting Podcast is going to win this whole tournament. And you know what?
Oh, already talking shit.
You know what? I'm cheering him on. If the Cloud Accounting Podcast didn't exist, there is no Accounting High. I got to say that. So, shout out to our buddies, Blake and David. There is no Accounting High without the Cloud Accounting Podcast. So, vote for them too. I'm sure they're going to like that. You can also vote for Earmark. You can vote for whoever or whatever in the accounting space. And
and don't be surprised when we release the bracket and you're like, oh man, blah 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 wasn't on there. It's because you didn't nominate them. It's up to you to nominate. We are not seeding these resources. It's up to you to nominate.
Yeah. Nominate your favorite things. And it's gonna be fun. So Stay tuned. More to come on that. Now let's pivot to a little bit of news, a little bit of discussion. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody, everywhere I go, do this ChatGPT. What is ChatGPT? What does it stand for? What does GPT stand for? What's the acronym?
Dude, I'll have to ask ChatGPT because what?
You would think somebody would know. You don't just flout an acronym all over the place and have no idea what it means. Nobody knows what it means. I've never asked somebody and gotten an answer, but I still haven't Googled it yet.
I got one for you. You don't even need to Google it. I asked ChatGPT, what does it mean?
Do you trust ChatGPT to give you the right answer?
I mean, I feel like it'd be the right source. Generative pre-trained transformer.
That's the T. So generative is kind of where I thought the G was in my head. What is it? Predetermined? Pre-trained.
So
okay.
they've pre-filled it with information and knowledge.
You would think that the T would just stand for trained then. Generative pre-trained. I guess pre is not its own word, yeah.
So
transformative?
Transformer.
All right.
Yeah.
I will try and remember that, but just don't. Yeah, that's a hard thing to remember. So there's
Cue up Katy Perry.
There you go. So ChatGPT, people keep posting stuff. It's not Google.
No, it's not Google, but it does answer questions for you.
It does. It's not Ask Jeeves.
No.
But it's what Ask Jeeves wanted to be. It's what you wanted Ask Jeeves to be. When Ask Jeeves came out, pretty sure that was before Google. People were using Ask Jeeves. And then it turned into Ask. That's what you wanted that to be, or at least what you thought in your at least in my imagination. I thought, Ask Jeeves, I could just ask anything and it's going to give me answers, right? It's not just searching. So that's what this is. This is your AI assistant. There's also Jasper AI.
Yep.
There's a handful of these others that are actually paid for. So to discuss or to clear the air here, ChatGPT is free, right?
Yeah. Today it's free. Yep.
So besides what the acronym means, because that still doesn't tell me what it does, and it's like Ask Jeeves, but what is it?
Yeah, it's effectively a chat bot. So you can have a conversation with it. It's driven by artificial intelligence. So it can do things like create a prompt for you. So if you're trying to write something, and just like if you were brainstorming ideas with a friend, you could ask ChatGPT to provide you some ideas. You can also just ask it a question like I just did. What does GPT stand for? And rather than pointing you to a website, it just gives you the answer. So it's a resource. I've used it to create scripts. It's kind of cool.
It's pretty dope. I haven't messed with ChatGPT yet because the only time I logged into the website, it was down or I needed to wait and get notified. Yeah. So in the meantime, I went and bought a subscription for Jasper AI, just prepaid for the whole year. And I started using it yesterday and I was amazed. I love it. Yep. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare the two, right? So Jasper AI is a paid for subscription platform and ChatGPT. And in my head, I was just like, I didn't know which one was better than the other. I just knew one is open source, free, and one is a paid for platform. And I know how I am with any other product. I prefer the one that's paid for because I'm not going to get ads. I'm not the product, right? So if something's free, I know I'm the product. I know they're getting something out of me using it. And I know if I pay for something, at least there's that paywall that I'm going past. I'm on the other side of that, and I'm just getting the product, right? They are the product. I'm paying them. That's what I do with Apple. That's how I do almost everything I do. Is I'd rather just pay to know that I'm not going to be used in some other ways. So, irony of that is our March Madness bracket challenge, our March Appness is free. So y'all are the product for that, for damn sure, right? But that's the public school. You get to, that's just part of the public versus private. So I think that the ChatGPT is the public and the Jasper is the private. Tell me, have you noticed you've used them both?
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, in preparation for thinking about our discussion today, I prompted Jasper and asked for it to provide me the top 5 accounting trends that firm owners should be thinking about. And it generated a pretty strong list. And I asked ChatGPT the same question. And also a fairly strong list that was actually very similar. The two, I think, are working together because outside of one item, both had the same major topics.
Yeah. So we'll go over Jasper's first, since Jasper's the paywall. And I think from my experience in Jasper, I know Jasper is feeding a lot of stuff to me and telling me what I should do rather than me trying to figure it out myself or go somewhere else to figure it out. They say, here, do this for show. So they just got a ton of templates and a ton of suggestions and explainer videos. And here's how you do this and how you do that. And I messed around with it yesterday and I made a bunch of posts on LinkedIn and Twitter. And it actually gave me good prompts on stuff to post. It was still me posting it. I still tweaked it a little bit here and there, but at least it gave me a good start. This is my calculator for words now, I think. It's what I'm using to describe it. Calculator changed my life. Excel changed my life. This is my calculator / Excel for writing, for content. I'm not good at the written content. I could talk all day. You know this. But writing stuff, oof, it's so hard to get me like to see the bigger picture when I'm writing something. I'm in my own bubble and I can't contextualize things and I just type and most of the time it's vulgar. Most of the time it's see me on the socials. I'm just I just go to my carnal, like my inner brain, and that's what I type. I see the subliminal messages and everything, and I just have fun with it. So I don't know. It's gonna tighten up my my social game, and it's going to make me a more presentable, clean up my act, more presentable person for the wild. Some people aren't ready for that other stuff. So cleaning up my act, and I think Jasper's going to be a friend along the way. That's going to be my little calculator. So
it's like an automated editor for you.
So that's our first topic, though, is AI automation on both of these. So that was the first one Jasper gave us, and that's the first one ChatGPT. Let's go on the second one for Jasper, and that's
outsourcing and remote work, which is kind of interesting that it put those two together because they're really different in a way.
They are, but they're not, because outsourcing is remote. It has to be by definition. And having remote workers made it easier for me to start outsourcing because we needed the processes and systems in order. So essentially, you're outsourcing it outside of an office. It might as well be, and this I've said this before in previous episodes, whether they're down the street, down the block from me, or on the other side of the country, or on the other side of the world, it doesn't matter. It's the same work. You know, time zones are a thing, but really, like, you know, we can work all that stuff out. We just had an episode on this topic. Released it Wednesday, and we're gonna do a weekly roundup of all the episodes released. But a Varsity Tips episode on staffing, outsourcing, social media. We didn't necessarily talk about remote work, but it's all the same in my head. The cloud, they pull together. They're all in the cloud, right? You got to be working in the cloud, and that leads us to our third topic from Jasper. And our second topic from ChatGPT. So we'll show how these kind of crisscross here. Second topic in ChatGPT was cloud computing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cloud computing, and then Jasper combined data security and cloud computing, which, you know, that's fair.
Yeah, you know what? Jasper is kind of copping out with these. It's like, I can only give you 5, but I'm really going to give you 10. I'm just going to combine some, group them together, right?
Yeah.
It's like subcategories. Because data security and cloud computing, they do go hand in hand.
Yep.
You need data security if you're in the cloud, but those are different topics, let's just say.
Yep.
I haven't talked about that enough on this show, but you talk a lot about data security. You're very conscious of that.
Oh, yeah. Security has always been a big topic for me. In fact, actually, Blake and I wrote a white paper together when I was a botkeeper around data security. So that's
great episode. Check that out on Earmark.
Oh, yeah.
Earmark episode. I listened to it. I loved it. It got me thinking.
Hey, it should. And I mean, this has been a trend, you know, in the industry and beyond for many years. And I don't think this is like a softball. This should be at the top of the list for eternity at this point.
Well, I feel safe because of my paywall with Apple. Apple seems to be the safer route if you don't want to get viruses and get hacked. I know that people can break into Apple's. I'm sure they can. It's just less likely. It's easier to crack the code in the PC world, easier to get inside people's computers, get the virus in there, the ransomware, all that kind of stuff. That's immediately what I think of is we got hit with ransomware back when we had an office, we had a server, and all the Macs were safe, and majority of the office was on Macs, and every PC was hit. Every PC on that network was hit. The Macs were on the network too, they didn't get hit. So that's what I like to say about that. But this is good. We can have these conversations as we continue our discussions on these topics. That's kind of how we're going to lay the rails and the foundation of the stuff we talk about too. The articles that we pull up on Accounting High Times is going to be these topics as we get further. So the third one for ChatGPT was regulatory compliance. What does that even mean?
That's right. So, I mean, effectively, actually, it's interesting because, just recently, in fact, there's a lawsuit against the PCAOB, and the accounting industry. It has different regulators that impact it. Everything from the Congress, state law to other standard setters. So, when they mentioned it in ChatGPT, basically saying that regulation is going to continue to become more and more complex, and it's going to be something that we as accountants need to pay attention to. So, again, I think it's kind of a softball because this is kind of the nature of our world. We're always looking at having to pay attention to laws, regulations, new rules coming down, potentially new regulators. I mean, when I started my career, PCAOB didn't even exist. So
just going to throw more acronyms at you.
Peekaboo.
Is that peekaboo? I've never heard that one. The way of saying
you're not old enough.
Boo.
When it first was coming out, that's what we all referred to it as, peekaboo.
That's funny. The fourth one from Jasper was digital transformation and cybersecurity. Digital transformation and ChatGPT, the T in T stands for transformer, as we just found out. And we have digital transformation, transform, change. What does that mean? And because cybersecurity is data security, isn't it? They kind of got redundant there.
They did get a little bit redundant there. There's no question. And I think the only reason they threw that in there is, we are at a bit of an inflection point where you have a lot of traditional firms that are the pressure to adopt new technology has almost become undeniable. I mean, for almost my entire career, there's been discussions about adopting new technology, but people have been able to say, I got it. My fax machine is here. It still works. This works. But the pressure to adopt new technology has finally gotten to the point where, it's time to either pack up and go home, or you need to transform and adopt. And then when you do, you have to be aware of the cybersecurity considerations, because it does introduce new challenges that when you were paper and pencil, you didn't have to worry about from a security and privacy perspective.
Absolutely. The thing I think of when you say pack up is there are a lot of boomer age firms that are ready to retire that haven't adopted this. People that stayed in the office all during COVID, and they still, it wasn't the fact that they stayed in the office and they met with clients because it was COVID. That's fine. Whatever they ended up wanting to do, whatever their preference. But they've been like that. Everybody tells me you need to change. You need to adopt cloud tech. You need to start doing this. And they still set in their own ways. Don't want to change anything. We're good. That's that money and inertia I used to talk about in our old intro, right? Fraught with money and inertia. We're making money. We're doing fine. We're good. Everything's working.
Why change?
Why change? Yeah. Right? There's no motivation, no incentive until they're ready to pack it up and they realize that these clients can't go anywhere, or if they do go anywhere, they are going to have to change their systems. They're going to have to change everything, and they're not going to stay with you. You don't have a business that's worth selling. Nobody's going to buy that client list because
there's no value there. Absolutely. The only clients that stuck around are the ones who like the pen and paper. The only employees that stuck around are the ones that like the pen and paper. It's, I mean, it's fine. You made your money while you can, but there's nothing sustainable there.
Yeah. If you've been working toward having a business that you could turn around and sell, then, right now you're not in a rude awakening because you've probably been hearing this all throughout the whole time. You're not going to be able to sell your business. It's not going to be worth anything to anybody because it's pennies on the dollar at this point. Somebody's going to have to make all the changes on their own.
Well, and even if there's been, there's a lot of firms that I've known that the dream has been that I'm going to sell this firm to some of my trusted employees who have been with me for decades now. And, many of them aren't going to want it. Like it's going to be too much work to try to evolve. So that's what I mean. Like the pressure to transform is we are at an inflection point, which frankly we've been saying for a decade. But I do think like it's
that might be why it's the fourth topic and not the first.
That's right. Although Jasper's fifth topic, is kind of funny.
Well, ChatGPT had cybersecurity as their fourth topic, and that was part of this one, the cybersecurity and digital transformation. So, I think Jasper just spread itself all across the board. They technically gave us 7 topics, but we'll go with 8 topics maybe. The fifth one for Jasper was
social media presence, which, again, I like, you don't have to. I've known incredibly successful organizations that don't because their client base is not on social media. That's not where they are. And then there's others who, we know, like, Nix. I know she's built one hell of an organization.
On top of LinkedIn,
very much. Absolutely. So, I think it's a trend, and I think it's something that people should think about and consider. I just think about like if I'm going to do the top 5 like most important things that firm owners should be thinking about, I don't know that social media is one of those items.
Well, I think it plays a part in a lot of things. It plays a part in marketing. It plays a part in attracting employees now, like we just talked about in our latest Varsity Tips with Nix.
Yep.
I think it's very, very important, much more important than I gave it credit for, because I'm trying to grow an audience. I'm trying to grow a following with this Accounting High, and I need social media for that. I feel like that's the megaphone. That's where people are paying. That's where they're paying attention to. Yep. If they're not paying attention, in their email box, a lot of times they're going on the socials as that distraction during the day. And everybody's got their preference of choice. Some people are always on Twitter. Some people are always on LinkedIn. Some people are on Instagram. Some people are on TikTok. Some people are still on Facebook. There's a lot of people that are still on Facebook or Meta. So I just got back into the socials, or I got into the socials this past year. And it's not as scary of a place as I used to make it sound, or as I thought it was. It's very laid back. You made it, you made it more relatable when you were like, I'm just out there hanging out. It's not that big a deal. Back when we talked back in January of last year, as I was getting started. So check out the socials. I agree with you. It's probably not its own topic. And so far the chat was more, so of these topics, I prefer ChatGPT's top 5 trends because they hit you on the nail with it. They didn't get ambiguous and try to blend together 2 broader topics. Sometimes you have a stretch to get them related. ChatGPT's list was remote work as the 5th one, which was part of the outsourcing one, number 2, and that's really important. So remote work is where it's at these days.
But, at the end of the day, I think both provided a really good starting point to then, have a larger discussion about these topics. So I mean, I think both of them certainly check the box on some pretty cool tech.
And that will be our foundational, let's say, 8 topics that we kind of weave in and out of as we start continuing these AH times, the accounting high times. So much for 30 minutes, but we'll continue with our little article of the day, the Friday footnote from, you already kind of mentioned this too, but Friday footnote from our friends at Going Concern?
Going Concern, yeah, they pulled out an article, and actually Accounting Today had an article on this as well. But there's an interesting lawsuit going on right now. The PCAOB, so for anybody who's not an auditor, that is the oversight board for public company audits. And that's a really important distinction because a lot of people don't understand that private company audits and like nonprofit audits and these types of things are not under the purview of PCAOB. It's only public company, so traded stock audits.
Expensify would be one of those.
Now that yes, correct. Now that they are, a public company, their stock is traded. They have to have an audit performed by an auditor that is authorized by the PCAOB, and the PCAOB reviews those audits to make sure that they have been performed properly. And apparently, an unknown John Doe auditor in Brazil actually is suing the PCAOB because there was disciplinary action taken, and it was all done behind closed doors. Secret meetings, secret conversations, no real transparency as to the discussions and ultimately the punishment. So this individual is suing the PCAOB about the lack of transparency as it relates to those types of hearings, which is kind of interesting to think about because, from our profession's perspective, we need somebody to make sure that everybody's doing the proper things. But there is a need for transparency in what's going to happen to those that fail. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the outcome of this.
Yeah. Well, this is a remote worker in Brazil?
I'm assuming,
or is this a company?
So it worked as an auditor at an accounting firm in the country of, I said Brazil, correction, my apologies to everybody in Brazil, Colombia.
That makes a big difference. Not really, but sure.
If you are from Brazil, I'm sure it does. But as a member of a larger international network of accounting firms. So, this was obviously
doesn't sound very transparent.
International accounting firm. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it falls out because it could have some serious implications for how the PCAOB is able to enforce the rules around, audit quality.
Yeah, dope. So, yeah, I just kind of think of, this is where you kind of poke holes in a system that's maybe corrupt or maybe not right to begin with. And this is where we start to see what they're doing over at the PCAOB.
Well, and that's, I kind of mentioned earlier, like when I started my profession, the PCAOB did not exist, which meant all of the audit quality reviews were done by AICPA peer review. We were the only self-regulated profession in the country. And then Enron happened and the PCAOB was created and carved out just for public company audits. So
interesting.
This
is a result of Enron.
It's. Yep.
right.
Before that, PCAOB didn't exist. That was why we have peer review.
And that was Arthur Anderson was the accountants of Enron.
Yep. That took him down.
Kenji's alma mater.
It was Big Six when I graduated from school because, and then it became Final Four. It's still Final Four.
Well, we're gonna have a Final Four. We're gonna have a Final Four of accounting channels, not accounting firms, but yeah, we'll have a Big Four we can refer to. So we're also gonna do a little Accounting High episode roundup. Each week we'll just talk about the episodes that we released. So if the only thing you catch is this, you get to hear what we talked about in these other episodes. So we'll just say January since this is the first one we're doing. We've had a varsity tips and a varsity party, which was our 2022 year in review. We split that up. We can't do anything short here. One was an hour long, one was over an hour long, and the other one was almost an hour and a half. Kenji joined us for the second half. I would consider that just one episode, but I released them back to back because they were two separate recordings. Great review of the year. We touched on a lot of different topics, but just had some fun on those conversations and set the stage for Accounting High and what Varsity Tips is going to be this year since it was Nick's Tips last year. Everything evolves in this brand. Sons of CPAs is now Accounting High. We've got our first ever debate we released, which was the CPA. Fun. You like that? The CPA versus the EA?
Yeah.
We're going to do more of those. Those are fun. Whenever inspiration hits and we have something, I think we're going to debate the topic of time with Ron Baker and possibly Ed Mendlowitz. We'll do that soon, but I haven't scheduled a recording for that. But if you want to check out that debate, we had some great. We had a great moderator. We had Jeremy Wells, who was an EA and a CPA. He moderated the debate. I was there for color commentary. I was the MC. We had Brian Streig and Terrell Turner as the CPAs defending their profession's designation. And we had Lusundra Everette, the home biz tax lady, and Adam Markowitz, the champion out from the magic Markowitz of Luminary Tax Advisors out there in Orlando, Florida. Great conversation, great episode. There wasn't really a lot of fighting. It wasn't like a debate. It wasn't a Friday night fight, let's say. It was a legit debate, very civil. We can't crown a winner because one isn't better than the other, but I think EA is really lagging. I'm an EA and nobody even knows what that is. Or they didn't until they got into this profession. So I think I needed that just for my own ego because I don't like when people call me an executive assistant.
That's great.
We released 2 conversation episodes. One was with the Soaring Falcon, Alex Falcon Huerta of Soaring Falcon. She has her own outsourcing firm, and I wanted to go deeper into outsourcing, but she's also a very impressive lady. She's been traveling the world solo. She's been doing everything solo, basically most of her life. Great conversation we had there. Also released one with Damian Martin of Simply Tax. If you've heard of that, Simply Tax, I think, is no longer around. I think he sunset it right before I released the episode. Yeah, and he changed firms too, so I had to edit out everything from his old firm. This was crazy. I never give somebody a preview of an episode, and I sent him a preview of the episode, and then he came back to me with this long paragraph of like, okay, I need you to edit out this at the 21 minute 70 second or 21 minute 17 second mark, like this starting at this word, and edit this out because politics of firms, right? He works at really big firms. Forvis was the one he worked at previously.
I mean, I think I had changed jobs by the time you released our episode as well.
Yeah, you did. You definitely did. A lot of people have. Yeah. Rachel Fish definitely did. We're going to be better about that this year. I'm releasing more per week to get the old backlog out. They're good episodes. This episode was timeless. We talked about notifications, attention, intention.
It was spot on. Yep.
Talked about ADHD. I mean, I'll put all that stuff in the title since those were the big topics. I struggle with ADHD. I was born with that. That's my credential of choice. Also OCD. A lot of these other ones you can label me, but he also shared that he has ADHD. That's not something he talked about on his podcast. Some people are a little ashamed of what they were born with, and they shouldn't be. And that's what we talked about. So, you can't control who you are. You can only control what you do, right?
There have been ADHD has probably influenced some of the greatest innovation in the world, and people don't talk about that.
Yeah, well, they talk about the innovation for sure. There is no accounting high if there is no ADHD. There is no March Appness if there is no ADHD. It's those tangents that I go on, and these I tunnel in on this idea, and I see it. I see the vision, but not everybody sees that. The imagination gap is real. So early stages of my ideas, people don't get it, but that's also because it's still up in my head rattling around, and that's what I'm focused on. I can't focus on a conversation if I got an idea bouncing around in my head. So that's why I'm working hard to become a more active listener, and it's hard when you have ADHD. It is. So
Sure.
Any listeners that have been with us a while know my struggles. We released another Varsity Tips episode on staffing, outsourcing, social media, and ChatGPT, looping in these current events, right? That's kind of what the purpose of all of this is to keep things current and also share some timeless conversations. So that's our roundup for the week. We got some coming soons. Yeah, we're going to keep this at an hour. I don't think we're going to be able to do a half hour, but we're testing the waters here. Coming soons, we're going to have the AH Gazette. That's the Accounting High Gazette. What's the Gazette, Byron?
I mean, that's the school newspaper. That's how you get the latest updates, things going on around school.
As an email format. So that's going to be what you get weekly in your email if you register to be a student. That's going to be fun. Basically, it's going to be kind of like this. It's going to be a summary of this episode and a roundup and links to the other prior episodes and coming soons. We're going to have the Accounting High Guide, the AH Guide. What's that?
That would be a blog. So this is where you'll get all types of information, things going on, maybe deeper dives into topics that have been discussed in various episodes. And, they're reflecting the guideposts along your journey through Accounting High.
There you go. So the guideposts are going to be the blog posts. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. We're going to take a lot of these bigger topics and just go deeper, maybe do a compilation of thoughts that happened on the podcast, discussions. Those are all going to feed into our pillar topics, our cornerstone topics. I got my mom helping out with a lot of this stuff. She's helping me build out this educational stuff. I've got a lot of ideas that we're going to start doing. So that's coming soon. We're also going to have AHTV, Accounting High TV. What's that?
YouTube channel. You'll be able to watch all of this greatness and more. I think you even discussed about maybe some YouTube only content.
YouTube only content. Are we ready for video?
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
It's an inflection point. You got to go video. Everybody's doing it.
This is our transformation. We're transformers into video.
That's it.
AHTV. We're going to make the logo look like MTV, so the TV will be smaller and the AH will kind of resemble the M. That'll be kind of dope. Our first, I don't think it's going to be the first thing we release on there, but it might be. And that's going to be my music video for Simple Tasks. I changed the title of the song. Now it's just Simple Tasks.
I like it.
Simple Tasks. If you haven't heard that, maybe I'll just play it as the outro of this. That's our friends at Growth Lab. They've got App Stream. That's my new rap. That's going to be the new music video. Stay tuned for that. We've got episodes coming up. A FreshBooks partner meetup episode from Atlanta, a conversation I had with Sherrell. Martin, you know Sherrell. Tell us what you think of Sherrell. How do y'all know each other?
Oh man, Sherrell. Sherrell and I met through Accounting Salon, and she's my girl. She's my woman. I apologize. I love Sherrell.
She would correct you. Yeah. I ain't no girl.
Dude, we've road tripped together. She is awesome. She's building a badass firm, and just
She also building Rock the Books, and you'll have to stay tuned and listen to that.
Yes, Rock the Books rocks. I love it. So
I told her we
can't
may
wait
do
to
a
listen to
parody
that.
of Rock the Books. We're going to do Rock the Bells, Rock the Books. I think obviously it kind of came from that anyway. So doing a parody of that, it almost is obvious, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I said we can work on that.
Maybe
We got
we'll-
another varsity
nice.
tips. Another varsity tips where we are reviewing we had two pretty big trips recently. I just got back from Park City, Utah with a bunch of accountants, bunch of our friends. So we talked about that. Also went to Denver for our GPAC summit. That's Gusto's Partner Advisor Council summit. Both of those were very impactful, very great trips back to back. So we talk about that on the next varsity tips. We also have some other discussion of other things that's coming out. We got the principal's office with Ron Baker that should be out soon, sooner than later. And the principal's office with Ron Baker is a 3-hour epic conversation. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to release it as just one episode or split it up into two.
I got a pause button. I think you just throw it out there and like get all the. It's Ron. I mean,
I'm looking forward to it. I had the conversation and I remember that it went by like it was 15 minutes for both of us. And we know we talked about some great things and we both have no idea what they were. We just went off. It was awesome. We went deep. We talked about his book a lot. We went through his book. It's going to be great. And he's been on a lot of shows lately, so I tried to make this different. I tried to make this a different Ron Baker experience than the others. You're going to hear some of the same things. So if I were to take that 3 hours and bring it to exclusive stuff only, it could be 2 hours of exclusive only content. It's good stuff.
Content. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff. And then following that is going to be our Sons of CPAs callback, me and Jason Ackerman doing our hard numbers, firm hard numbers. That's what we're calling it.
Wow. Good stuff.
Sounds like porn for accountants, firm hard numbers. And that's
never mind.
That's what were you going to go further with the joke?
I'm not. No, I'm leaving it alone.
This is the hour plus mark. We go X rated when we get here, especially when I'm with Nix.
Nope, leaving it alone.
All right, cool. Well, Byron, thanks for joining me for our first volume of Accounting High Times. We're going to get this out today, and we'll see y'all again on February 3rd.
See y'all soon.
Deuces.